Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 3699 Insider Club live YouTube show as well. In the chat, tell us where you're from. So on Tuesdays, around 5:30 Eastern time, we basically talk everything there's about AI, whether it's lawsuits we'll talk about today, the business of AI, how to use AI. And also we have a private group where we've interviewed, for example, some people who worked at OpenAI, some of the top AI researchers, some people worked at Salesforce, AI billionaires, and it's a community. They don't really want to be on YouTube. And so it's free to sign up, 3699 AI.ai. You can go in there. All you got to do is just get our book, Business is War, because it's kind of built on that premise. A lot of great interviews as well. And on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern time, it's called Billionaire versus Millionaire versus 100,000 Thinking. Last week, we had the billionaire founder of Pandora. So we're on live, twice a week here on Zoom. And if you could do me a huge favor, please subscribe to this. It doesn't cost any money, I promise you. And if you can like and comment, it helps the algorithm because it is a lot of work. And every single day for the past 17 days, I have done an audio on what's it like to run a AI company on the way to $2 billion. And there you are, all the shows. Lionel Messi is my business coach, all related to AI and business. And it's hard. Like it's hard to master everything, and putting a lot of content on Instagram, Francie. And so we're going to talk about AI. So we happen, and it's official, we have the most advanced business AI in the world. We've tested it side by side, just created the 9-figure brain, which we've had, and then the super AI intelligence brain. And in the chat, for those who've been using, what do you think about it? It's called JT1. Again, if you want to test drive our AI. And we also have Power 5, which is all 4 of the AIs together with mine. So Power 5 together. And a lot of people go to the different websites, which is a mistake. You want to have it all in one place, because you want to create your own digital passport, your own digital AI that's going to go inside AI employees. And very shortly, we already do it, you AI yourself, but AI yourself with your brain. And so these are things that we're working on as well. So on one hand, there's the selling component of AI, right? Francie, by the way, this is Francie, my CEO. She runs all my companies. And I convinced her that we should run an AI company and build it. And she has... she thought it was a great idea, and now she hates it because on one hand,
sounds like a great idea at the time.
There are nerdy people that are really good at creating the AI, but they're calling it bots and agents and coding and all this stuff that people don't know what they're talking about. Like people are going to the Apple store now buying the Claude bot and having their own thing, but like people are buying it, they don't know what to do with it, right? Or they're like, oh, I'm doing my own LLM of DeepSeek. Yeah, well, you're giving your information to China. So, right. So they don't know. And I think what I've learned is that most people have no clue about AI and what it does. And you have to keep it at a 6th grade level, maybe even a 3rd grade level to AI. And then you have people that are overselling and they're coming in saying it's going to do all these things and it doesn't. Now, we happen to be very good at sales, running businesses. I have 84 of them. And also very, very good at sort of visionarying and creating and the tech. But the tech part has been the hardest thing we've ever done, because every day, the AI, just so people know in context, there's no way to control the AI. You don't know how it thinks. You can literally put it in and get 2 different answers for the same questions within there as well. It's its own beast on its own. And for those of you who are part of the club, you heard one of the top AI researchers. How would you describe the experience on the technical side building the AI? We did a great job by building something, but there's snowstorms, ice storms, power outage, just like I've experienced all week here with this weather. So how would you describe to the people, what's it like from the tech component of running an AI company, and is it worth it?
It's like building a car. The wheels might be on the top, the side. It could be a unicycle. Maybe we're building a hovercraft. What I would say is overall, anything in tech is very challenging, because no matter where you start and where your initial idea starts, right? Like where we started with JT saying, I want to build my own AI and what it's going to functionally do and how it's going to work, to where we are right now are it's a very different picture. And it has evolved and it has changed. And where I'm sure we'll be 3 months from now, 12 months from now, 24 months from now is going to be very different from where we are today. And I think that is part of the challenge of anything in tech is You have to be able, you're continuously building something. And I think that's a little bit of the misconception people have of, I'm going to build something. This is what it's going to do. This is how it's going to work. And then it's there and it's great. But you're constantly having to evolve with, how do users interact with it? What do people like? What do people don't like? Like, look at social media platforms. And I say this all the time. They all steal everything from each other. But Instagram didn't know where it was going to be, didn't know it was going to be where it is today, right? And Instagram has become very video heavy because of TikTok. And Instagram has features now
Stories
that
from Snapchat.
fast forward on my videos, because on TikTok, you can fast forward on your videos. So people are like, I want to be able to fast forward on my video, right? So it's like anything in tech, you're always having to evolve and change and do something differently and adapt. And I would say that can be the really fun part, but it can also be the very challenging part, because if you don't have the right team, if you don't have things documented properly, if you don't have the right communication flow, it becomes really challenging, really frustrating, and where you're sort of just banging your head against the wall because things aren't going how you want them to. And I would say one of our biggest challenges is JT goes a million miles an hour, and he's way ahead of everyone else. And it's trying to get everyone else in the team to go at half of JT's speed, right? Not even JT's full speed, but can we go half of JT's speed? And just even today, where I started today, when I woke up this morning thinking what needed to be accomplished in AI, right? 2 new things popped up in the course of today that needed to be pushed to the front of the line as far as created, built, ready to go, which one of them we were able to make happen. The other we're really close and hopefully should be there in the morning. But that's kind of where you are in tech. It's not you build it and it's done. It's you're building it and always saying, how can it be better? How are we improving this? How are we changing this? And if you look at any right, Uber continues to change. Amazon continues to change and evolve. All these platforms continue to grow and change and evolve. And so you kind of have to have something that has that ability to do that. The other piece being, you have to be able to sell what you have. And that's kind of the other component that I see is everyone wants to sell on what is the future capability of what we think we're going to be able to do, where it's you got to be able to sell what I have right now today and what works right now today as it stands, because what you think you're going to build in the future may or may not happen because somebody else may have already done it. Somebody may be doing it better. You may find it isn't a fit with what you're actually working on. It might not make sense based on where you're trying to go, right? So I think that's the challenge you see with a lot of things. They're selling based on what is to come versus what is ready.
That's a good point. And by the way, let's talk about privacy. There's a big lawsuit, Elon Musk versus Sam Altman, that is going to trial on the basis that Elon Musk says OpenAI was meant to be open source and funded the first $50 million. And then Sam Altman ran with it. Elon didn't want to fund or whatever it is. And it was always meant to be a thing for the people and for free. And now it's become a huge monetization engine, obviously. And they're trying to argue that we are for profit to change it around, which would be against the initial thing. So Elon Musk is fighting it. I don't think there's going to be a settlement. And there's been a lot of people that, we're really tight on privacy. And that's a big thing as well. We also have a button that says private so that nothing goes in there. And a lot of people who know Sam Altman, I've been seeing some videos saying he comes from the Zuckerberg school of take as much info as possible, which we've seen in the past with Zuckerberg's in front of Congress. The first thing as I can question is, do you trust, in the chat, and make sure you subscribe and like, comment, do you trust OpenAI ChatGPT with your information, that you're not putting in there your information? Lately, they've come up with ChatGPT nutrition, ChatGPT for insurance agent, ChatGPT for health, and workout plans. So all those people were like, let me put my thing. All of a sudden, they're putting it out there as well. and they're facing some lawsuits. So let me go in there, some of the lawsuits that they're currently facing. Copyright infringement cases from publishers, authors, and media outlets because they're saying they're scraping the content, training their AI without authorization. New York Times lawsuit that's one of the highest profile, and Microsoft saying that they scraped all their articles without their consent. An author class action lawsuit against authors, George R.R. Martin, John Grisham, who says that their books are in there and people can literally don't have to buy, they can see this inferred. There's all these Canadian media companies, 50 of them, who put together lawsuits, and a very large privacy and personal data class group accused OpenAI of scraping a massive amount of personal data from the internet, private conversations, medical info, details about their children that they put on there as well. People go like, I created my own GPT. Well, all you're doing is you're feeding that bad boy. And so you trust it. And then also saying, hey, listen, people are putting their own user prompts, which I hate the word prompts. And people are just basically using it to improve this. And apparently that you can opt out, but nobody knows where and how and what. OpenAI is arguing that training on publicly available data qualifies as fair use and copyright, even though some of the private information that is put in, I think someone recently had proprietary information that they put in some kind of paint kind of formula recipe. And now it turns out on top, well, first of all, let's address this. And there's another big elephant in the room that ChatGPT wants to take a percentage of your business if you create the idea on their platform. Thoughts about the lawsuit? Do you trust them with their information, or is it become with like everything's public anyway, it is what it is?
So, I mean, listen, those of you that know me know my motto is trust no one. So, you know, there is that piece of it. Now, there is also, you know, how much shit everybody puts online on every platform you can think of that, you know, whether it's your social media, you know, anything you enter into a forum anywhere, that's basically being taken anyway. I think the challenge is a lot of people don't realize, you know, if you're putting financials, if you're putting your business plans, if you're putting your customer information into these platforms, you know, there's a lot of countries and a lot of places around the world where there's a lot of data protection, different laws, rules you have to follow that I don't think people realize. You know, if you're putting customer information, you're putting financials, or you're putting that information into ChatGPT, ultimately you're probably violating some of those laws when it comes to privacy in different places of the world, because you're not supposed to be sharing that information and they're probably scraping that information. But it goes to the same thing, Jake. Remember, feel like it wasn't even that long ago when people would be like, oh, well, we run this thing on Facebook where if anyone comes to the landing page, we scrape their email, their phone number, and we scrape this data without them even having to opt into the form. And I remember you and I having a conversation about it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's a great idea, because essentially people aren't saying, I want this information, so contact me. You're scraping their data to then be able to contact them. So there's always going to be people out there that are going to find the way around of getting the information. And it's one of those things you have to understand. And like you said, you can opt out of things on any of these platforms. They make it next to impossible to figure out how.
Gmail can read your information right now. If you don't opt out, they'll read your emails. So if you go to settings, and it's called smart mode.
And like, right, here's the struggle. And this is what I said to you, right? Because we use Google as a platform. Gmail could read my emails. Do you know how much more efficient it is? Because I will go into an email and it will be asking for a Zoom link for a call, and it'll embed the Zoom link because it knows, because it's already somebody else has asked for the same link, right? So it can read my emails and read my responses, and it makes it that much more efficient for me to be able to respond to people, right? Which is one side of it. Where on the flip side of that, if I turn that off, then it doesn't make it more efficient. But what other things are they reading and capturing and taking on the data?
And a couple of things that people are not figuring out. I wonder, with governments being so on top of that, why they haven't been like the privacy crusaders, like European, Union and Belgium and the council. And you've seen a lot of people, or even Australia, who are now banning, kids, from 16 years old to be on social media, and more countries are following suit below the age of 16. Is that unlike Google, who basically said, and Apple, they have a policy, we don't share anything. Like you have to crack our code or anything. Privacy is paramount. And I believe that AI has not been regulated as hard because right now a couple of things happen. If the police makes a request, they will send information. If anybody searches words, that would be deemed terroristic in nature or a threat, they will be reported to the police. If someone sues you, they can subpoena the records directly to OpenAI and turn over your entire chat history. And that's a liability, especially proving that, and then if you delete it all, be like, okay, well, you deleted it after you got the request, because now it's hard on emails because Gmail would not give that sort of that information. And so I think because they don't want to be regulated by the government, they've let the governments to see, and I'm pretty much sure the government is probably searching. I love when people in America, and I'm like, do you have TSA pre-check, which means you don't wait in line. For those of you not in America, you don't take off your shoes or your laptop, even though they got those new machines. And I don't know why we still can't bring liquids when they got the most advanced machine. I think it's a thing. So we buy water for $1.50 on one side and buy it for $6 on the other side. I truly think that that's why, so they could charge a premium. And be like, well, I said, why would you wait like 30, 40 minutes in line in the airport? They're like, well, I don't want to be on the list. What list? You already have your driver's license. You already have your passport. They already have all your info. Like I guarantee you, the minute you walk into an airport, there's a AI facial recognition scan. Guaranteed. It's been told to me before. So in China too, like wherever you go, they can find you within seconds as well. And it's only going to get smarter and smarter. So it's safe to say our details are everywhere. Now, if maybe you're not successful, it doesn't matter. But if you're a successful business and you have a trade secret, and there's ways to access that information, that could be detrimental. And that's why I don't put anything of privacy. We have obviously our own AI now. By the way, if you guys want to try it, Power 5, all 4 AIs at the same time. So the memory stays the same, and JT1, and take it for a spin. You will see how powerful and amazing it is. It's just so good to see a product that's so amazing, and we use it every day. And you were a little skeptical at first because you get used to things. But I will tell you this, AI is designed to agree with you. Whatever you put in, it will agree with you. It will not give you the counter. It will not stop you. By the way, dreams do come true when you use ChatGPT, which is a great product if you know how to use it effectively. And I think a lot of people don't. And they don't really want to figure it out there. They want it to be positive, and because I think the more people agree with it, the more likely they are to use it, because you're like, wow, this is really good. As opposed to a true entrepreneur, you want the truth. Like, is this a good idea? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the investment? These are things that we definitely need to know as well. So these are all the lawsuits that are going in. I also know Anthropic, Claude, has another lawsuit. Apparently, they went on one of those like LibZen or GenLib, which is a website where used to be all these free books that got turned down by the FBI. And they took all that knowledge from every book and put it in their model to train. And now that I think someone sued for $1 trillion. So it is a thing. But if you take a look at what happened between Sam Altman and Elon Musk, or you read my book, Business is War, AI is the New Weapon, that pretty much we launched at the Sydney Opera House and became #1. The backstabbing, all of these AI guys know each other. Like, it's a massive backstabbing thing that they have. And there it is. You guys pick it up on Amazon. You can also pick up Billionaire versus Millionaire Thinking. But it is kind of crazy to see that the backstabbing and the nature. And I don't know. I know I don't trust the government. So the question is, do you trust the AI the way they are? And you kind of have to take.
Listen, that's what I would say is probably the big difference between any of the AI that is out there versus our AI, right? Whether you're looking at Anthropic, GPT, Gemini, whatever, all of them are training off of what can they pull off the internet, right? So I'm going out there, I'm saying, here's what I'm using, and I'm pulling from what's being put out on the internet, user-generated content, and what are people putting into my system. The difference is on what we have created. We have created it with our own content, case studies, business knowledge, programs, books we've written. we're training it with all of our own business content, which that business content, knowledge, and know-how is what has turned you into a 9-figure entrepreneur. So instead of just saying,
Francie, that every coaching session, by the way, if you guys go to my Instagram, type in the word 25, all 8,000 hours, I've recorded 768 hours of me being coach. 14 years ago, $974, negative 34,000 to today. Who would have thought that information would be used 14 years later to train an AI?
But that's what I'm saying, right? This is 14, 15 years of I'm starting my business to I'm growing my business to I'm making money, I need to invest it in things, to I'm diversifying, to I'm starting multiple businesses, to like all of those things. I'm getting into different industries. I like all of that stuff over that time span to then say, this is the shit I know works versus let me just go scour the internet for anywhere it says, how do I start this business? Right? Which could be a blog someone wrote that's never started a business before. It could be somebody with experience talking about, like, it could be anything and everything and you don't know. And I think that's the difference is like, that's the reality, right? We're not, listen, anyone out there is always subject to some kind of legal something at some point, right? That's just the reality of being in business. But we don't have that. We're stealing your shit or we're stealing people's data or we need your data because we have enough of our own content that we know.
We don't want to get smarter off you. We want to get smarter what we do. But there are some times we're going to use APIs.
We know works is what we're using for our AI. We're not looking for other sources, right? And that's what I think the difference is. Other AI wasn't saying, like, imagine, think about this though, like, what if, and I don't know if I even want to say this out loud because somehow he'll take it and probably figure it out and use it. But what if Elon trained Grok on what's in freaking Elon's head of how he became so successful?
You know, the problem is, as you saw in my book, pull up my book, Ninja, Billionaire versus Millionaire Thinking. I have realized that there is a huge difference between 100,000 millionaire and billionaire thinking. And I interviewed 4 billionaires. And I will tell you very simply, and if it goes on this framework with Elon, we're good, Ninja. You guys can get on Amazon. What we would take a look at this and say, it's not worth the risk. And so they're willing to go all in. And so, for example, I tell people this, you have 10 million in the bank. Okay. You have an opportunity to put 10 million to make 100 million. But if it doesn't work out, you start from scratch. You got 200 grand. Do you take it? Now everybody say, yeah, I would. You had 10 million. $10 million in the bank is not an easy feat. And would you put 10 so you can make 100? And if it doesn't work out, you're back to 200.
Maybe make 100. Not guaranteed make 100. Maybe make 100.
Yeah. Well, no, well, that too. But let's just assume you could make 100, but you don't know. If not, you get there as well, right? It's like there's an opportunity to make 100 if you go all in. Or if it doesn't work out, which again, there's no guarantee, you're down to 200,000. You're starting from zero again. You're sitting in first class to now sitting like middle seat next to the bathroom on Spirit Airline or Jetstar or Ryanair EasyJet, to name some famous airlines, or Air Asia. Now I've got all the budget ones out of the way. And the answer is everybody said yes until they have to write that check, right? That's number one. And then you get to 100 million. It's the same thing. Am I willing to go all in 100 million and possibly start out be a couple million? Because 100 million, you've already made it. You don't need any more money. So you can make $1 billion. And it all comes down to the simplification. And, you know, millionaires will say, and by the way, if you guys want live, we interview billionaires. If you want to be part of this community, it's in the comments as well, or the AI. There's a lot of videos that people don't want publicly, so they're privately, so you guys can watch it. And we interviewed last week, Pandora co-founder, and who got screwed by a private equity. You guys could watch that video. So it's like one of those things that just, like most people, they get to a level and they take their foot up the accelerator, or they trying to do everything themselves because it's easier and faster. And we've seen that before. And I think this is the first time we have hired great A players that are very expensive, and have compensated them very well, and equity as well, to bring them over, because we realize that the ceiling of what we can do. We can do 100 million. That I'm sure positive. We've done it many times. The question is, can we get to 1 billion? And it's not about the money, because I always said I'm going to give it away. But I truly believe with our AI agency, and I used to think, honestly, we were like maybe 6 months, worst case, like best case, 9 months head start. I think we have a year and a half. I think people are so behind. It's good because it gives us, but it's also going to be a slug to trying to convince it. And just like marketing agency, I'm sure marketing agencies, marketing on social media was a hard thing. It must have been a hard thing when it first started, right? Because people are like, why do I need the internet? And well, what is that going to do for me? I don't want a social media account. And then people are going to get in on later and then wish they would have gone in first, like anything. So I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think that's like anything, right? There's still people today that haven't figured out how to market on social media, and it's been around for a while, right? So it's like, even sometimes when things have been there for a while, people can't figure it out. I will say the biggest thing I think we are seeing when it comes to AI is it doesn't matter what it is meaning, like, if it's some kind of like an AI bot or employee or chat bot or responder or salesperson or answering the phone or whatever it is, the AI can only do and is only as good as the information you provide it, right? AI, it's not an actual person where you can say, if somebody asks you a question, respond like this, and then somebody asks a question that isn't one of those 10 questions, and a human will be like, okay, you didn't ask me one of my 10 auto-fed questions, so how do I respond to this? Let me come up with an answer off the top of my head of what do I say, right? Where AI is going to, if you are not asked one of those 10 questions, it's going to basically spaz out and have a brain aneurysm because it doesn't know what to respond to, where it's either going to make something up or just not respond.
But there's also a part, like, first of all, anybody has any question, maybe we'll answer a couple of questions, Ninja. I'll put them on the screen if they're good questions or amazing comments you want to say. But if they go in there, hypothetically, you and I know marketing very well, and people go in there, how to start a marketing agency. You put that into Broke GPT, right? And just say how to start it. And it's going to tell you, pay-per-click and Google AdWords and SEO. And it's going to tell you the generalities. And you'll look at this and say, if you don't know, you'll be like, no, it doesn't work. But if you do know, you'll be like, no, it doesn't work that way. That's dead. That's hard never, because that's being replaced by AI SEO. But that way, you're not going to get a client like that. And that's why I think the future of AI is really starting. If I'm a spa and I want to start a spa, I want to find who has done a successful spa. Can I buy their brain? Can I buy their brain? That's number one. And number two, not only can I buy their brain, but then can I create an AI employee off of that brain in my brain, so that, first of all, this is what you say to the customer. Here's the experience you provide them as well. Generalists never win. And I think the AI is going to be a game of specialty. And that's why with our platform, our AI, you're able to AI your brain. And one of the things we're going to be testing is AI yourself, just based on all the information you put in, and then test your brain with AI. And I think that's going to find out how smart you are, because the AI adapts to where you are. And then you compare it versus all the other brains that we have, including the 9-figure brain, the only sort of AI that thinks like a 9-figure entrepreneur if it was you. And now the super AI intelligence brain, which is just mind-boggling how good it is as well. So by the way, if you want to demo the AI, it's in the chat. It is amazing. It is the greatest thing ever. It is a $5 million team, whether you have 0 people or 1,000 people. It's the difference maker. And some people don't understand. And what we're doing this Saturday, we are raising the prices, because what I realize is that, like, the cheaper you are, the harder it is to sell. And we've made it as low as 70 cents a day for the people to succeed. But now I'm like, successful people will always get it no matter what. And unsuccessful people will always have this. I always tell people, we have a Formula One and this is a race. And if you're in a Toyota Corolla, you're never going to win. And you keep saying to yourself, once I win, I will then be able to have a Formula One car, but you're never going to win. In fact, you will never race, because they'll never let you in the race. It's like saying a golfer, I'm gonna use watch the free videos on YouTube on golf. I'm gonna go to the driving range, and then when I win a tournament, then I'll get myself a coach and I'll be on the tour. You're never gonna win. It's never happened. And that's the problem. The way you think, right? The way you think. It's all in here. The way you think. The way you think.
JT, a real life example. Well, actually, JT.
Is there a question, Ninja, too? We're going to also.
Hang on, JT1 is still generating an answer, but I literally just went into ChatGPT and JT1 and asked the question of how do I start a marketing agency? Like I literally just did it while you were talking, and just high level to give you the difference when you go into what you would say is broke GPT, right? This is literally where it tells you to start. Okay. Pick a narrow lane. Pick an industry. Example, dentist, real estate investors, med spa, liquor stores, okay? Then it says design your delivery model, right? Done for you, product services, or hybrid AI augmentation. And then it says, you're going to love this, where to start. Set up your LLC, set up your bank account, create a simple contract, and get your merchant account set up. Those are literally your first three like steps, right? So then in JT1, right? There's a lot.
Which brain did you do?
So I did the super intelligence.
Okay, one of the things you should have done on this as well is the COO, the how to, because it'll literally give you 16, 15 steps at a minimum how to do anything.
This demoed me out like pipelining how much money I'll make per client and what my revenue goal is and how many how many calls I need to make.
The first time you tried it?
Wrote me email templates to send out, how many emails I need to send a week. But anyway, that's
the same question.
And that's literally all I wrote is how do I start a marketing? That's all I wrote, right? Which I would normally write more, right? But literally starts with pick one service, paid ads, content, e-commerce, and is basically saying don't be a generalist, become a specialist in one area. Okay. So just a defining thing on where you start, which I know this to be true because I had my own marketing agency at one point. You can either say, I'm going to target dentists and try to be all and everything for the dentist, which the problem becomes if you're targeting dentists, you end up cannibalizing your own clients because you're only working with one type of client. So like in theory, if you go acquire 2 dentists at a client in one city, aren't you just cannibalizing your own clients, right? So on the other one, it's saying pick a lane to specialize in, right? So do an area of marketing really, really well, which you can provide that service for any.
Why $1
out there? Huh?
Wow. Sorry. I was looking at my videos while you were talking. So I was looking at the other videos, the performance of the video. So it wasn't me talking. It really was, but.
Oh, I got it. And then like it starts saying to build your target list, how many prospects, where you need to prospect. And it says an email sequence and then gave me email template frameworks, right? And then says what your targets need to be for emails sent per day, your reply rate, your booking rate, and your close rate for those, right? So if my target is 50 emails a day, at a, good would be if I get a 10% reply rate, elite would be a 15% reply rate, what booking rate. And then says the goal is 3 clients at 2,000 to 5,000 a month by day 90, then gives you an onboarding process, right? Of how do I onboard the process? Now back over to broke GPT. Okay. It says next, I need to build my offer, right? And examples that work, booked appointment system, local Google domination package, paid ads and funnels for coaches. Now, what I will say to this is a bit of a challenge is that these are the things that I get 20 emails a day that says, would you like 10 more leads every day? Would you like how many more booked appointments? Like these are the lines that I get that everybody's already using, right? So nothing's going to stand out. Nothing's really going to be different to go out there and do that. So there's like.
This is the first time you tried this brain?
No, this isn't the first time I've tried this brain, but like.
You just launched. I was just wondering because we hadn't talked about it.
I'm just saying in like a side-by-side comparison.
No, of course, it's not even. How would you rate the GPT answer versus the super AI intelligence one?
So to me, the GPT answer to me is if I was to go on Google and say, how do I start a marketing agency? It's going to say, set up your LLC, set up your bank account, set up these things, pick something to focus in on. Like here, like, I feel like it's just the generalist answer, which here's the reality. If you don't know anything about anything, it will at least get you started.
Yeah,
now,
but it's not going to make you succeed.
It's not going to make you successful, right? It's not necessarily going to make you successful. It's not necessarily going to make you make a bunch of money, because it is what I would say is it's the same information that everybody gets when they show up and they go to school. If you're in kindergarten, right? That is we're in kindergarten, we all learn our ABCs. That is what Chat GPT generated for me, right? It gave me my ABCs. We all learn our ABCs. You need your ABCs, right? What JT1 generated for me is, here's your ABCs. Here they are in every language. And here's how you actually make words using these letters.
Yeah. You know, it's the funny part is that I think what I did was very hard. I think people don't understand creating what's called a business system commands, you know, how to make the AI think, to take something nobody thinks that's the hard part and happen to be very good at it.
The reality, what I would actually do in JT1, if I was doing this, is I would go into the how-to brain and say, how do I start an agency?
Yeah, the how-to is step by step.
Right. Then I would take that, go to the CEO brain and say, I want to create this business. This is my step-by-step guide. What are my key KPIs and metrics I need to create to hit these revenue goals? Right. And then the CEO brain is going to give me those high level, like, what are the metrics? What are those points I need to be hitting? Then I would go into the COO brain and say, build me out the infrastructure and the system I need with this plan to hit these metrics, right? Then I would ask the COO brain, who are the critical people I'm going to need to implement this structure? And at what point do I hire those people, right? Then I would go back into the CEO brain and ask for, if I want to hire these people for this company, write me the job descriptions that I could post for a job opening. Right. Then I would go into the marketing brain and say, this is the business I'm building. These are the type of clients I'm trying to reach. Write me social media posts, emails, content for my website. Right. Yeah. Then I would go into the legal brain and say, this is the customers I'm trying to generate. This is the service I want to provide. This is how I want payments to work. This is what I'm worried about and I need to be protected. So please draft me these documents into the legal brain. Then I would take the document out of the legal brain. I'd go back to the CEO brain, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I would take that one thing, switch in between the different brains to get all the different pieces I need.
But when you're complicating it. The billionaire would tell me, as my video is stuff, you're too smart. You have to dumb it down.
But then as I get to the part where I'm like, I'm calling people, I would transcript the call, put my transcript into the sales brain, and basically at the sales brain to give me feedback, right? This is what I'm trying to sell. And I would use all those different brains for all those different pieces. And that's where I think, you literally, when you're getting started, or even in my day to day right now, right? I did an interview today. I took the transcript of that and basically said, what do you see? Like, what does this transcript tell you about this interview?
Very good. That's so cool.
So it's just like, that's essentially how I look at all those different brains. It's like, instead of having that team that you ask each of those people, that's how you kind of take it, right? And that's how I would actually use something if I was building something new from scratch.
Well, listen, if you guys want to, you can actually in the chat, use it, demo it, get all 4 AIs regardless. You want to, you don't want to keep going in there. And people are like, well, what about the memory I've been building already? If it ain't making you money, your memory is useless. And we want to build memory that you can put into an AI employee. So you might as well go in there and maybe you copy and paste and bring it over, or start new with fresh information.
Use the brain of somebody that is where you want to be, right? Like, and listen, my brain's pretty smart, but I want to be where JT is. I don't want to use my brain. I want his brain. Right?
I don't think I've ever heard you say that compliment. You've heard it out here. Usually it's I don't want to be you, and now you want to be where I am. So this is breaking news, everybody. And this clip will be no, there's no editing. This is live. My God, the moment of weakness that I've just I want to be where JT is. Who are you?
But that is the reality, right?
Yes, because I was like sleeping an hour and a half. Are you like I've never slept this little, but I have no choice.
It's and I don't mean this in a mean way. It's showing.
Yeah, but it is what it is. So I have to go to Thailand. We're getting old. We're getting the strong chicken anymore. So, anyways, so that's it. We did it. Again, if you can subscribe, if you subscribe, if you can comment, and you could like it, doesn't cost any money, helps it out. Also, you want to try our AI, experience the difference. You know, we have if you do the Power 5, you can try it for 7 days, or just do the monthly with all the 4 ones, amazing options. And make sure you pick up my books and join the club. See a lot of the behind the scenes interview. People don't want to go live on YouTube. And it's based on the premise here. AI is the new weapon. Phenomenal book. Everything I said I would do in this book, I've actually already done. And things of agency, AI in yourself, AI employees, all the future there as well. And of course, the great billionaire versus millionaire thinking right here. And the first book, Business as War. And I can say this. Yeah, too many books. No more books. No more books. No time to do books. No time to do books as well. So, by the way, please, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you on every day. I do it so you can see the videos that I do. And I'm going to, as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to do the video. And then if you guys want to come on Thursday live, 8:00 a.m. Eastern time, we have a special guest. So we interview billionaires or interesting people, or we talk about the business news or anything like that as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Great seeing you all. Check out my daily show. Subscribe. We'll see you next time. Let's go AI. Here we grow. 3699 out.